Well, hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today I am going to be coloring Tabitha Barnett's little girl, St. Patrick's Day girl, Karen, which was a freebie that Tabitha has offered to all of her fans in celebration of St. Patrick's Day. So just to show my appreciation towards Tabitha, I wanted to color it on camera today with you guys, and I will leave a link down below in the description for those of you who would like this freebie color page, but maybe you don't have Tabitha on a Facebook feed or something like that, so you may have missed the freebie. Okay, so we're just going to get started. I've picked a very limited palette, which with St. Patrick's Day and, you know, the idea of green, 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 it was really intimidating trying to pick the palette. But I picked out some of my Copic Chow markers. I'll be using YG91 Putty, YG03 Yellow Green, E35 Chamois, G14 Apple Green, Y08 Acid Yellow, YG67 Moss, and YR000, which is Silk. And I will probably work on this also with some pencils, probably over my work once I get all the color down. So let's just get started. And I'm going in with the YG67 Moss. I hope the lighting's okay. It seems a little off to me, and I've tried everything I could think to do to make it better. I turned on my extra light, and you just saw I flipped that off because it just made a pretty nasty shadow. So I'm sorry if my lighting seems a little off. It's a pretty dreary day today, and maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure, but we will work with what we have. So how have you guys been doing? I hope that you're all doing very well. It's Monday here. This video will go up Tuesday morning. And things are going well on my end. I've actually got the house to myself for just a little while. My mother-in-law has had to go get some paperwork taken care of from her doctor and take that and drop it off to someone, and then she said that she may get a little shopping done. There's a thrift store that I've talked about in the past that she hasn't been to in several years, so she was thinking about maybe going there. And she invited me to tag along, and I was like, no. I really enjoy the time I get alone. It's important to me. It's my me time, you know, when Gary's at work, and then if my mother-in-law's not here, also that's, you know, awesome for me. It gives me that time to just kind of take a deep breath and just, you know, be with me. And I think that, I think alone time is important to a lot of people. Some people don't like being alone at all. I'm the opposite of that. I really enjoy my me time, and it took a long time to get there. I used to not like being alone at all. I kind of went from enjoying some alone time to a period where, you know, when I first lost my daughter, to not wanting to ever be alone. And that was pretty stressful on everyone. But I'm back now where I do enjoy that time that I get to just kind of kick back and, you know, do what's important to me, and just focus on me. And, you know, if I want to scream at the top of my lungs in the house, I can. Bradley will look at me like I'm crazy, but, you know, it doesn't bother anyone else. So I think it's a positive thing to have that time. And things have been going really well. We finally got Gary's blood sugar below 200 yesterday for the first time. Yay. He has started doing what's called, I think, why can't I say this word? Intermediate fasting. Basically, he does not consume any food before 12 p.m. and then consumes no food after 6 p.m. And of course, he's really watching his carb intake and all of that too. And his blood sugar had been above 200 for several weeks now. And yesterday it was 125. So maybe we're getting back on track. The doctor wanted to give him an opportunity, since his counts weren't extremely high, to bring those back down without having to use insulin. So that's a positive thing. And we've had some crappy blood pressure readings, but they've been doing okay for the most part. There's only been a few really bad readings. So we're just keeping a close eye on that. And hopefully we'll figure out a way to get things to stabilize with him. Thank you so much to everyone who has been checking on him and things like that. It means a lot to us both to know that there's so many people that care. And I went to see a urologist, and he has me on a treatment that I was totally not expecting. He seems to believe that the issues that I'm having are coming from menopause, the change. And he thinks that I needed some topical estrogen. And he thinks that that will solve my problem. So he's putting me on that for the next 8 weeks, and to see if symptoms will improve and go away. He's going to do a CAT scan, you know, just to make sure that there's not anything really bad that we need to know about lurking around, but he's not expecting there to be. Okay, this is G14 apple green. I'm going to use it for my 4-leaf clovers. But, so that's how things are going with me. And with Gary, I finally was able to get my car fixed. With some type of a, I don't know, pulley, something, I don't know. I don't know, but it was vibrating, and it was vibrating more than it was supposed to, and it basically needed replaced. So got in there and got that taken care of. Found out that my plugs needed replaced, so we replaced all the plug wires and things, plugs and wires. Unfortunately, while we were getting all of this done, we came to realize there is a small hole in my radiator, so we're gonna have to fix that. You know, situation normal. It's always, you know, something, always. So it'll be all right. We'll get it fixed. But it's nice to finally, hopefully, have some answers to what was going on crazy with my car. Maybe I won't have any more issues with that. And, you know, that's my Mustang, and it's my baby. I love Mustangs. I always have. I was able, it wasn't until I was 24, maybe 25, before I was able to own my first Mustang. And I had it for about a year. And I had the 2 boys then. And if you're familiar with Mustangs, you know, they only have 2 seats in the back. They're like bucket type seats. So there's only 2 seats, 2 seat belts. And then I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter and had to sell my car. It was tough. It was tough. You know, because you have that thing you've always kind of wanted. And then I never got another one until, it's been almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in June, I believe. The 1st of June, when I got this Mustang. And it's not new. It's new to me. It was new to me. It was a 2006. And I got that in 2017, I believe. So, it had some age, it had some miles on it, but it's done really, really well. So, I mean, you know, the things that we're doing is just pretty typical of upkeep on an older vehicle. But I enjoy my car. I love it very much. It's not an 8-cylinder. It's not a GT or anything like that. It's just a 6-cylinder Mustang. But that's fine by me. If I had a GT, I would probably get in a lot of trouble, even at my age. I do like fast cars, so yeah. So I'm enjoying having the Mustang, and it's just Gary and I now. So you know, we don't have the back seat. No one ever has to sit back there or anything. That's a good thing, because there's really no room back there. It has 2 seats in the back, sure, but there's zero leg room for anyone who sits back there. I think my older Mustang had more leg room than that. Either that, or I really owe my boys an apology. Now, granted, they were small, really young at the time. I believe Michael was maybe 7. And Jordan was 3, maybe 3 or 4, 7 and 8, right around that age, when I had the Mustang. So they didn't need a whole lot of room, but still, if there was this little of room, I obviously owe them an apology, because there's no room back there in this one, that's for sure. I have ridden in the back. Once Jordan wanted to drive the car when he was here, I believe, on like a leave or something, and we went somewhere and he drove the car and Gary sat in the passenger side and I sat in the back seats, and yeah, not hardly any room back there at all, but we may do. I think this is just the cute, cute little coloring page. I saw that Tabitha has been working on another one, and it was really cute. This is YG03 Yellow Green. Excuse me. And she was kind of asking what our opinions were. If she was, you know, wasting her time drawing these kind of things. I think maybe she's considering a book with like these girls or kids or whatever popping out of different little things. I think the one I saw excuse me, last night was like a teacup maybe, and it was super cute, and I told her no, I don't think she's wasting her time at all. I think she's doing a really good job, and I love Tabitha's art when she goes, you know, and draws things that aren't necessarily like the mandalas that we have kind of come to expect from her. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I did not want to just cough, cough, cough with you guys, and my throat was itching so bad. I thought that the winter time my throat was itchy and stuff, because I have sinus issues a lot. But I'm telling you, now that spring is springing, you know, we've had enough warm days that things started to bloom, even though we've had cold snaps and things. So we've got a lot of allergens up in the air now here. I know some of you guys are still in the throes of winter, and I'm glad we're not. I'm so over cold weather. Now, granted, I don't want really hot weather either. I'm not a super fan of massive heat, but I would rather be warm than cold. And Gary's like the complete opposite, the poor guy. You know, his theory is you can put on layer after layer. You can only take off so many layers, but he's really hot-natured, and I'm much more cold-natured, so. All right, cute, cute, cute. Oh. Okay, I'm going to go in with Acid Yellow Y08. Just to do these little pieces of gold. And then I'll outline them and stuff with my pencils, and I'll pick colors that'll make it look a little more goldish than yellowish. I'll use more brownish yellow colors when I go over with my pencils. So what have you guys been up to? Are you guys coloring anything in particular? Are you taking part, you know, in the Mandala Mania? If not, what have you been coloring? I've really enjoyed this month's Mandala Mania. It's gave me an opportunity to just sit and just color mandalas, and that's awesome. Because sometimes I feel like I almost feel like I'm cheating. But I mean, mandalas can be they're relaxing to me. But you know, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. But normally, if I sit and I just want to do a mandala after a mandala after mandala, I kind of feel like I'm not. I don't know. It's not my typical coloring, but it's been really nice to be able to just do those mandalas and just enjoy them this month. And I know several of you have told me that you really never liked mandalas, but this has kind of sparked an interest for some mandalas for you guys, and that's awesome. It's really awesome. I really like the mandalas that have like pictures and things like that inside of them, or they're floral, or you know, something different, not just your average everyday mandala. I mean, I'll do those, but those aren't the ones that I prefer. I like the ones that are a little different. Those are the ones I really enjoy. All right, and I saw that I missed this little stem. Okay, I think I'll do her earrings with this green also. Maybe even her, see, her eyes really isn't going to show much. I haven't figured out what to do with that yet. I was going to use Putty YG91 on the little cauldron. I was trying to use as many different like types of green kind of colors as I could in this, since it's very, you know, since it's St. Patrick's Day. Cute. Okay, now to try to get this done without leaving massive lines everywhere. So even I had some lines in here. I've noticed I'm getting some lines with my Copics, and that's odd. And I don't think they're getting low on ink or anything like that. But I don't seem to be getting good, even coverage either. And I think it's because I need a lot more practice with using these brushes. This is actually a very pretty color. I'm kind of bummed out because I could have got a refill on this very cheap, and I didn't think I would ever use it. Because the putty in some of my other sets, I rarely ever used. So I didn't jump on that, and I should have. I kind of regret it. Because it was on sale. At least I don't think I got it. I'll have to check and see, but I don't think so. Okay, see how the coverage is kind of off a little? And I'm not going to go back over it and make it even darker, but and I think I've noticed that a little bit too sometimes with these Copics, is that sometimes one coat doesn't quite cut it. And I have to kind of go back and do another coat. I think there's a little bit of a learning curve with brush markers, but I am enjoying the Copics, the Chows that I got. Foot is going to sleep on me. I don't know what to do about these spots. It's not getting real good coverage. For any of you that work with brush markers a good bit, if I'm, if there's tricks and tips to this, please tell me in the description, well, in the comments below. Yeah, I just really don't like how that, don't like how that looks. Am I being overly picky? I'm going to do her skin with YR000, and that is Silk. Maybe I should go back over those again. The skin's doing okay. I'm trying to make sure I'm getting a good even coverage on the skin because I definitely don't want that splotchy if I can help it. I'm kind of worried about the face. Alright, let's go in here and do it. Oh, could you guys not see? I'm so sorry if you could not see. And I don't know, maybe I should be using the chisel tip more in some areas. I mean, maybe that would help. I don't know. But I'm finding I really like my Copics in like smaller areas, but with larger areas, I have some streaking issues I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with. I'm thinking it's just a learning curve. I'm going to have to just kind of work with it. Okay. It's not as even as I would like for it to be. E35 is chamois, and that's what I'm going to go in with her hair. So we have our camper ready for camping. That's exciting. Every April we go on, it's a fishing trip that's about a week long up into the mountains for trout fishing. And so we definitely had to make sure our camper was ready for that. We just have a pop-up is what we have. And it's a used one that we got and just did some work on to kind of renovate it. But I mean, it's great. It's nice for little getaways like that. It has a kitchen, it has a shower and all that inside of it. And we may take it out later on this month just for a day or two. Just Gary and I, just kind of a getaway. You know, get away from everything and just kind of be together for a little while. It's actually been very stressful on our marriage since we had to move in with his mom to kind of help her out and everything. It's been kind of stressful on our marriage. So we need to take a little bit of time and work on us just being alone. And I mean, it's not that our marriage, you know, I'm not going to say our marriage is in danger. I'm not going to say it's failing or anything like that. It's not. But, you know, when you pretty much never have any privacy and you, even though, you know, we moved in to help her between paying her bills and taking care of her physically because she really can't do that anymore. So between helping with the bills and taking care of her physically and all of that, even though you're doing all of those things, at the end of the day, it's not your house. And we kind of get reminded of that a lot. And that's really stressful, you know, when you're, you know, Gary will be 50 in a couple years. He'll be 49 his birthday. I'll be 44 on my birthday. And it's like living at home with your parent, and that's kind of how you're treated. And that's tough, you know. And so it's been a little stressful. What do you guys think? Do you think I should do another coat of these colors? I mean, I'm kind of thinking I should, and see if I can even things out just a little bit. And I don't know how easy that's going to be now that the base color's dried. It's generally much easier to go in with color when things are still nice and wet. We can try and see what happens. I just really don't want to get things too dark because I kind of wanted to go in and do a little bit of shadowing and things with my pencils. But that does look a little more even, I think, adding that second coat. So what do you guys think? I think it does. And that's kind of what I'm finding, is sometimes with Copics, to get a really good coverage coat, it does take two sometimes, at least for me. Yeah, I like that much better. I do. I like that much, much better. So I'm just going to have to kind of basically recolor all of this again. That's crazy. But anyway, Gary and I have realized that we're going to have to take some time for us and get away from here. And it makes us nervous, you know, leaving his mom home alone for a few days. But, you know, we'll let other family know and have them to check in and things like that. But, you know, she has a granddaughter that only lives a couple miles away. And then Michael is about 15 miles away. But, you know, and there's some other extended kind of family and friends that we can get to check in. But we're going to have to take that little bit of a break and just have some us time. And so that'll be nice. And he should have, he's worked, you know, he's having to work some of those double shifts because of time he, you know, didn't want to take as like sick leave, that he just traded off shifts with people. So he's got it kind of worked out where he did take like 1 day of leave or something like that. So it's going to end up, he's going to end up with like 6 or 7 consecutive days off. So that'll be nice. And that's, you know, if we do anything, that's, you know, when we'll do that. And it'll also give us a chance to make sure everything's okie dokie in that camper before we do take it up into the mountains. Because, you know, up there, there's no cell phone service, there's no internet. You're just kind of on your own, and it takes about an hour to drive to somewhere where you really do have those things. So it's kind of a good thing to make sure you're good and squared away before you take off like that. Last year we went camping with Michael and Caitlin, and one of the little pulley system things messed up and we couldn't get the camper up. So there we sit, it's starting to get dark and we couldn't get the camper up. And, I mean, we finally managed, but it did take a trip, an hour-long trip into town, and some critical thinking, trying to figure out how to make things work the way we needed them to work. And then we had to replace that pulley system when we got back. Taking the camper down at the end of that trip was, oh my goodness. Because we had to put one person like on each side, because when we let it loose, it was coming down. But we got that fixed after that trip. And it's kind of nice to make sure you're not going to have problems before you take off to areas like that, you know? So it'd be nice just to take a little trip and make sure everything's, you know, working the way it's supposed to. I'm sorry I'm having to go back over all of these things. It's just, you know, when you add like an additional color to one and you've based your colors off of that, you know, when you add alcohol ink on top of alcohol ink, it kind of darkens. It darkens things up, kind of gives it a different shade. And that's a really cool thing about markers, about the alcohol markers, I guess I should say. But if you've picked out your color scheme and then you darken up like one thing, all of a sudden it's a whole different, you know, scheme. It's a whole different color. So you kind of have to, you know, if you're going to do it to one, you kind of have to go back and do it to it all most of the time. So if you guys have anything plans coming up for the spring, you have any trips plans or anything like that? During the spring break months, or weeks, should I say, we generally try to stay home. You know, we don't have any children that are out of school, you know, to take on vacations or anything like that. So we pretty much give people those weeks, those couple weeks right there to do their thing. And our fishing trip is generally planned either the weekend before or like the weekend after all the big spring breaks in the area. And I think this year it's after. And I'm happy because it's coming at the end of April. The first year I went, it was the first part, like the first part of April. Oh my goodness. And the weather was miserable. It was so cold. Temperatures were in the teens and it was raining the majority of the time. And that was before we got the pop-up. That was when we determined we were getting a pop-up. And we were just in, it was like a tent that connected to like the back of Gary's SUV. So you kept like the back of the SUV up, and that was your bed, like in the back of the SUV, and then it opened up into a big tent. And that was our setup for that trip, and it was miserable. Oh, it was bad. Last year, or I think the next year, it was a little later, in the middle of April, and it was pretty nice. And then this year it's going to be the last week of April, so it might actually get a little warm even, maybe. We'll see. There is an air conditioner in the camper, so we will have AC if we need it. So that'll be nice, because I know poor Gary, he'll burn up. And as long as I can get warm while I'm trying to fall asleep, I actually sleep better when it's cooler, but I have a hard time falling asleep if I feel cold. So it's kind of crazy. I'll end up all kinds of covered up when I start going to sleep, and then I'll fall asleep and I'll get hot, and when I get hot I start having really weird dreams. So those really crazy weird dreams will start, and that wakes me up, and I'm generally sweating, and that's when I'm like, okay. And I'll start stripping blankets down and things like that, and then I can generally go back to sleep, because, you know, by that point I'm hot, and I want to be cooler, but crazy, crazy thing. I do not like all the issues that I have when it comes to sleep and trying to fall asleep. They're crazy. And Gary, gosh, love him. You know, he can go to sleep just about anywhere. He says he can't. That's what's so funny. He says he can't. He says he can't sleep with the TV on, or he can't, you know, sleep with a light. But the truth is, he may not sleep well, but I've seen it. He can sleep. Okay, I do think this is looking better, as long as I can do this top part. And, I mean, there's still a little bit here, but it's not quite as bad. I think if I would have immediately went back over it, it would have been a lot better. Instead of waiting like I did, I should have just immediately said, no, it needs another coat. Weather here today is in the 70s, but the sun's not out. It's all icky, and we're supposed to be raining today, but it drizzled just a little bit this morning, probably about 7:30 maybe. It drizzled for just a little while, and then it stopped, and it's just been kind of dreary. It's probably raining like cats and dogs all around us. That happens a lot of times. I'll think that we don't get whatever weather it is. You know, we had tornadoes come through a couple weeks ago, and Gary was at work, and, you know, they got all these warnings, so he called me, and he's like, you know, there's tornado weather in the county, you know, be careful, whatever. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, this, you know, it looks like they're headed that way. And I'm like, okay. The wind didn't even hardly get up. But then later that afternoon, after all the threats or whatever had passed, I had to ride into town, and there was no power anywhere in downtown. Come to find out, the tornado did touch down there, but we didn't get anything where I was. Okay. It's a little better. It's not perfect, but it's a little better. I'm just going to have to work, you know, really work with these brush markers, I think, to get... to really get the hang of them. I'm sure there's a secret. I have no idea what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight. I've kind of been thinking about that. I have some buffalo chicken salad, and I have some chicken salad in the fridge, and I'm really thinking that sounds really good. And Gary does not eat mayonnaise and does not eat ranch. So whenever I want anything that contains ranch or mayonnaise, I pretty much have to do that when he is not home and not going to be home. You know, I thought he was always kidding, but truly, even like the smell of mayonnaise kind of triggers a gag reflex with him. It's really strange. You know, I used to threaten that I was going to start sneaking mayonnaise in his food, and he said, Donna, please don't. He's like, I will seriously throw up, and I never believed him. Then I have noticed over time that if he gets that whiff of mayonnaise, it will kind of trigger that gag reflex a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. I think she's very cute. All right. I'm going to work on her a little bit with some pencils, and I'm not going to do that on camera, but I will add the finished picture right at the very end of the video. My feet are going to sleep sitting in this chair, so I really need to get out of it for a little while. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I really enjoyed this time together. Thank you so much, Tabitha, for making such a beautiful freebie and offering it to the community. It's very much appreciated. I love your work. We love your work. There's a link down below in the description, guys, where you can get this freebie. There's also going to be a link directly to, this will lead you into Tabitha's store, of course, but I'll try to link also just to the storefront and with all of her work. I believe that our coupon code for 30% off inside of the Selffy store or Selffy store is still valid. That is color with Donna, no capitalizations, all one word. I'll leave that in the description. Please take advantage of that. Also, if you've gotten a lot of Tabitha's work and you've enjoyed it and you've been using the coupon code and things like that to get that 30% off, when you go to download this freebie, it's listed at $0.00, but you'll see there's a little arrow where you can basically pay whatever you would like to pay. This is a freebie from Tabitha, but she does welcome tips. So, I mean, if you've taken advantage of the coupon code and you've been getting the 30% off her works, I know I have, and I was able to complete my Tabitha Barnett collection with that. So, just consider tipping her maybe $1 or something like that. Just a way to say thank you, if you can do that. And if you can't, that's fine. Everything will be good. Just, get your freebie, color it. Visit us over on the Facebook page, share your freebie, show it to everyone else. That would be wonderful. And until next time, guys, peace, love, and happy coloring. Bye, guys.